We've got some fantastic distinguished speakers here today, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to keep it moving. I'm just going to officiate. Now, how we usually start these ceremonies is to be welcomed by the first person of the borough, which is the local mayor. But ladies and gentlemen, can you please welcome the Mayor of Southend, the wonderful councillor Ron Woodley, Mayor of Southend.
Well done. Thank you.
Lovely.
It's good to hear someone say I'm a wonderful councillor. Most of the opposition councillors call me terrible things. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honour to join you today as we gather to unveil the plaque that commemorates the extraordinary life and achievements of one of history's most remarkable figures, and that's Larry Gaines. Larry Gaines was born in 1900 in Toronto, Canada. His journey to greatness was not an easy one. At the age of 20, he began boxing, and 3 years later, he moved to England to pursue his dreams of becoming a champion. Over the next several years, Larry fought all over the world, from the United Kingdom to France, Germany, and the United States and Canada. He even fought at Madison Square Gardens in New York in 1927. Despite being prevented from competing for official British or world heavyweight titles, Larry's remarkable skill, determination and resilience shone through. He defeated future world champions like Max Schmeling and Primo Camera, earning recognition as the Canadian champion and British Empire heavyweight champion. He was twice crowned the coloured heavyweight champion of the world, a title he retained until he retired in 1937, following Joe Louis' historic victory as world heavyweight champion. Larry's boxing career spanned 143 fights, and he won an impressive 115 of them. His accomplishments in the ring were all the more remarkable when we consider the immense challenges he faced in a racially segregated world. But Larry's contributions went beyond the boxing ring. In addition to his athletic achievements, he was also a dedicated trainer, mentoring fighters at the Shoebury Tavern, now we know it as the Shoeburyness Hotel, here today. He shared his knowledge, his passion for the sport, and his commitment to helping others rise to greatness. Larry's legacy is not just one of Olympic achievement, but of perseverance in the face of adversity, a reminder that progress is not always easy, but it is possible with dedication and resolve. Today, as we gather here in Southend, we celebrate Larry Gaines' life and the lasting impact he had on the world of boxing and beyond. His career was defined not only by his victories in the ring, but also by his determination to break down barriers and inspire others. It is my privilege to unveil this plaque, which will forever stand as a testament to his remarkable achievements, his spirit of resilience, and his enduring legacy. Southend On Sea is proud to honour Larry Gaines, and it is a great privilege for us and for me to remember and celebrate his life here today.
Well, I think we can all go out now, can't we? Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, none of this would have been possible without Larry Gaines' grandson. He's been the driving force. I'm not going to say anything, I'm going to leave you to welcome a wonderful example of the Gaines family, Michael Gaines.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michael Gaines, and I am deeply honoured to stand before you as the great-grandson of the extraordinary Larry Gaines. It is a privilege to be here today, surrounded by so many who have come together to celebrate the life and legacy of a man who made unforgettable impact not only in the boxing world, but on everyone who had the chance to know him. Thank you all for being here today, for this incredible special occasion. As we stand inside the Shoeburyness Hotel, where my great-grandfather, Larry Gaines, trained and lived nearby. I feel an overwhelming sense of pride, gratitude and emotion. Larry Gaines was a man of remarkable achievements and many talents. Many recognise him as a pioneering figure in boxing. He held titles such as the British Empire Champion, the Canadian Heavyweight Champion and the World Cutterweight Heavyweight Champion. Yet despite his exceptional skill, he was unfairly barred from competing for the World Heavyweight title due to the unfair colour ban in place from the 1911 to 1948. This grave injustice denied him the official recognition as the world's best. Yet it could not undermine his brilliancy on the global impact he made as an icon in the sport. What makes Larry even more remarkable is that he held no bitterness towards the politics of his time. Despite the obstacles he faced, he carried himself with grace, resiliency and dignity. Larry was not just a champion in the ring, he was a true gentleman in every aspect of his life. Larry's talents extended far beyond boxing. He was also a gifted singer and performed with a band at a hotel in Southend On Sea, bringing joy and entertainment to those around him. When the world was at war, Larry stepped forward to serve in the British Army during World War II, demonstrating his courage, dedication in another arena entirely. He was a man of strength and talent and incredible resiliency no matter the challenge. Today's unveiling is a long overdue recognition of Larry's incredible legacy. After a long year campaign, it is truly overwhelming to see this plaque installed here, honouring Larry's life and achievements. This moment is not just about celebrating his success in the ring, it's about acknowledging the barriers he faced and overcame, and the inspiration he has, his legacy continues to offer future generations. As we reflect on Larry's life, it's important to remember that no great person achieves success alone. For Larry, my great-grandmother Lisa was the pillar of strength, offering unwavering support and encouragement throughout his journey. We should never underestimate the profound impact of those who stand beside us. It is often their belief that helps us push through. On behalf of the Gaines family, I'd like to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who made this day possible. To Nuremberg Community Trust, the Sporting Heritage, the British Boxing Board of Control, the London Ex-Boxing Association, the Essex Ex-Boxing Association, and everyone who supported us through the crowdfunding campaign with their public donations. Your support has been extremely important. This plaque wouldn't be here today without your generosity and belief of so many people. I'd also like to thank Nick Kenny for his graciously giving us permission to place this historic blue plaque on the Shoeburyness Hotel. Your support has been crucial in making this day a reality. In closing, as we celebrate Larry's remarkable journey, let us draw inspiration from his strength, courage and determination. His life serves us as a last reminder that no matter the obstacles we face, determination and spirit can help us overcome. Larry Gaines was a true gentleman and an extraordinary figure whose legacy will always be remembered. Thank you all for being part of this historic moment. This plaque is a powerful testament to Larry's legacy and may inspire each of us to face our challenges with the same strength and determination he showed. Thank you.
Logan, are you going to say anything? Little Logan? Thank you, Michael. That was a beautiful speech. I know what this plaque means to you. So I know you look like you've just been in the gym, but yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful speech. So gentlemen, there's some beautiful people I've met doing this tribute, and one of them is, in my opinion, has more historical knowledge of boxing than anybody in the UK. If you ever go on Mastermind, sir, make this your specialist subject. Ladies and gentlemen, the irrepressible Colin Hart.
Well, first of all, delighted to be here to see this plaque being unveiled. Larry Gaines is an essential part of British boxing history. Excuse the voice, I've had a cold. We've obviously heard his life story already, but there's one fact they haven't told you. Today was Larry Gaines' birthday.
Yes.
He was born 124 years ago today in Toronto. Now I'm speaking as a boxing writer. He knocked out Max Schmeling in 2 rounds in 1925. Schmeling went on to become world champion. He appointed Carneiro in 1932 in front of 70,000 people at London's White City Stadium. He went on to become world champion. So there's no doubt in my mind, as a boxing writer, that if he'd have been allowed to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world in the 1930s, when Jack Sharkey, Max Player, Britain and Carneiro were champions, he was good enough to have beaten every one of them, no doubt about that. His story, coming to this country on a cattle ship that took 6 weeks, the fact that he went to live in Paris, became a friend of Ernest Hemingway. He was also an erudite man, immaculately dressed at all times, and I had the pleasure of meeting him on several occasions when he was president of the London Ex-Boxers Association, highly respected by everybody who knew him. And it has been mentioned, his greatest achievement, I think, was the fact, despite the he was robbed of the opportunity to win the richest prize in sport, there was not 1 ounce of bitterness in him. His attitude was, I was the victim of the politics of the time, and he accepted it amazingly. What I think should happen, somebody a lot cleverer than me should write a film script and get the life story of Larry Gaines on film in either a documentary or a feature-length film. He, as I say, he's an integral part of British boxing history, and that's just what he deserved. That's his legacy, and I'm delighted we're all here to celebrate him.
Thank you, Colin. Boxing Board of Control. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much, Colin. Really good speech. Picked all my lines.
The mayor did it as well.
Yeah, what can you say? Anyway, I'm going to say it. By the time you all go home, you will be experts on Larry Gaines. So good afternoon, everybody. As has been said, my name is Richard Barber, and I'm very honoured to be here today representing the British Boxing Board of Control. It's also good to see some local boxing faces. Ray, welcome. Colin, of course. What can you say about Colin?
Round of applause, then, for Colin.
Stephen Powell here somewhere. Oh, yeah. Stephen's been in boxing for, well, since the bare knuckle days, isn't it? But anyway, we're here for Larry Gaines. Larry Gaines is a Canadian by birth, and today is his birthday, as you rightly say, 124 years old, been reckoned. At 143, which I've just corrected because I had it as 145 contests, but there you go. Between the years 1923 and 1942, and he trained for many of them right here, right in this building. Whether it's in this building or the place just next door, I don't know. Many famous boxers have trained here. Georges Carpentier, there used to be a plaque here for Georges Carpentier. I believe it used to be in the bar, along with some gloves of his, but they sadly disappeared. Kid Lewis trained here. Alf Mansfield. Bombardier Billy Wells, do you remember him? He was the guy who banged the gong for the J. Arthur Rank films. Of course, it's very conveniently located, this place. It's right next door to the barracks, and it used to be a big barracks. And for the price of a couple of pints, you could get all the sparring you needed. Sometimes all that you didn't need. But let's make no mistake, Larry Gaines was a top-class boxer. and faced the likes, as we heard, of Jack Peterson, Tommy Farr, Primo Canera, Len Harvey, Ben Ford, yeah? Jack London, Reggie Mean,
Phil Scott.
Phil Scott, yeah, and the great Max Smelling, who did actually go on to become world heavyweight champion, and Larry knocked him out, as Colin said. But not only was he a boxer, Larry was a singer and drummer in his own band. I think I got this right. It was called the Canadian Kings of Swing. Is that right?
100% sure.
Oh, put that in the film.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And whilst living here in Shoeburyness, performed in this area, including in this building.
Southend On Sea, a hotel band.
Yeah? Oh, right, okay. He moved away from Shoeburyness, excuse me, in the early 1960s, I believe, yeah, and settled in London. And he passed away in Germany in 1983. But credit must go to his great-grandson, Michael. Yeah, it must go to him for raising the funds aided by the excellent Nubian Jack Community Trust. Yeah. For this memorial to his famous relative. And we at the Boxing Board congratulate them for arranging this tribute to a truly great man. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to kind of slightly go off script, because if you look on the itinerary, it's all blokes. And I think it's only right that we get a woman's voice. And so I'd like to invite the wonderful Linda, Larry Gaines' granddaughter. Come on, Linda.
What can I say? I don't know all about Grandad. I only know what he was like when I was a child. When he was bringing us up, we used to go to him every holiday, every school holiday. We used to go to my nan and granddad's. And in his box room, he used to have all his boxing gloves, his shorts, his belts, his bag, and my sister and I, Jane, my eldest sister, we used to go up there without him knowing, when he was out, and put all the kit on, and we used to be boxing each other. And my nan used to come in and say, no, you mustn't touch that, it's Grandad's. But once he knew we were doing it, he thought it was quite funny, because we were girls. And I never realised then how famous he was. We just thought he was our granddad. We used to go there every holiday, so he used to take us down to the beach, take us to the Kersal, and he was just a normal granddad to us. Even though he was a different colour, to us it didn't mean anything, because where we lived, when he used to come and stay, people used to be all coming round him. If he took us to the local pubs, people used to come up to him. My sister and I used to think, what is it about him? It wasn't until we got older that we realised who he was and what he'd done, and that he broke that thing about being a coloured person, or then black. It's because I get a bit confused, you mustn't say these different colours. But to us, he was just our granddad. And my nan, being German, she was so beautiful, and she never used to say anything about, different colours, and my aunts and uncles were all mixed race, so we didn't know anything about that sort of thing. So, to me, he was just our granddad, someone who was fabulous. But he used to say to us, children should be seen, but not heard. That was one of the jokes in our house. Whenever it was Christmas or things like that, he used to look at us and we used to get a little bit too excited here going. But other than that, he was just someone who was special. Our granddad with the grandchildren, he was different with them, sitting on their laps. Yeah. We used to go up every Sunday to go and see him, make sure everything was all right. And he was just someone, gentle giant. And we were so lucky to have him in our life. And my nan, because my nan was beautiful, my nan was so good with him. Because Grandad was the old school, She'd do everything and he'd sit there. But he was so lovely. We were just lucky to have him in our lives. And as I say, it's so nice that everybody now is saying what he should have got. So we went to Canada and saw the plaque and everything what they've done out there for him. And people spoke about him saying that he should have got recognition, which he didn't get. But then one of the things, he's broke that barrier with it, so we're proud of that, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Well done.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you look on your flyers, you can actually see Betty, which is Linda's mother, there with Larry's wife on the left. Okay, fortunately, there was a gentleman that was able to fulfill Larry's dream, and we're going to invite the manager, or I think he's still manager, of Frank Bruno legend, who became a WBC champion of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, David Davis.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dave Davis. I'm Frank's agent and the chairman of his mental health foundation, something I've done since 2005. To be fair to say that I've gone through heaven and hell with Frank, and one thing about Frank, he's very proud of his boxing heritage, and he loves learning about old boxers, and quite often people don't realise Frank can talk a lot about the old boxers. And as a boy, he and his dad used to listen to the alley fights on the radio, and this is what gave him the initial interest in boxing. Now Frank's working away at the moment, but he's asked me to represent him today and read out the following. Honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm sorry I cannot be with you. I'm working away. They're on a cruise working at the moment. I'd like to say a Caribbean cruise, but nothing as glamorous as that, as I'm in Europe, and hopefully the sea will be gentle with us. As I write this, the storms and high winds are not what I'm looking forward to, especially when on ship. I heard about Larry Gaines many years ago. He fought in an era where colour and race determined who you fought and how much exposure you received and how much money you earned. I'm not going to get into the race debate, but if it was not for Larry Gaines, boxers like me would not have been accepted and given the opportunities I was in the 80s and 90s. How many times do we all wish we could have seen a fight with legends of yesteryear versus more modern boxers? Larry Gaines would have certainly been a recognised world champion and received the plaudits at the time that he did not get. Imagine if Larry had fought in the 80s and 90s. But Larry was not just a great boxer, he became a personality and a recording artist. Very similar to myself. He even had the right name, you know what I mean, Larry. As a boxer, I was told my biggest fight would be the day I stopped boxing. And it seems Larry also made good of his name and status with life after boxing, as he had the gym in this area and encouraged young and upcoming boxers. He was an entertainer and seen as a personality in his day, but sadly he was never given the proper recognition he deserved. His work in the community, including this area, is now only starting to come to light. Larry Gaines created the footprints for young up-and-coming boxers like me to step in. Modern boxing, which now allows most races and colours to fight, needs to realise that without Larry Gaines, our plight to reach the hallowed World Championship contest would be a lot more difficult.
Beautiful and charming speech. Very, very nice indeed. Gentlemen, we're just going to invite one of the sponsors now. His name is Stephen Powell, and he's the president of the London Ex-Boxers Association.
Good afternoon, everybody. Put my chain of office on today simply because just up here is Larry Gaines. Larry Gaines was a remarkable person. As you know, we've already been mentioned, he was outstanding with his boxing career and also what he did after his boxing career. But it's when he came to the London Ex-Boxers Association was when I first met him myself personally. I was about 24, 25 then, and a lot slighter as well, and I was standing at the back of the room. Now, the ex-boxers meetings in 1971, 72 were held above a pub, very similar to this, the Tollington Arms in Hornsey Road, Islington. And the room would have been probably from there to just over to there. There was a table set up, a trestle table with 4 members of the committee sitting behind it, 2 chairs that end, 2 chairs this end, and a bench, a wooden bench in front, and then some chairs afterwards, not much. So I was standing at the back of this room, and first time Larry Gaines came into that room. He walked into the room, and every man in the room was an ex-fighter. They're all fighters, no managers, no trainers, just all ex-boxers, all from well before the First World War and up through the Second World War. And then came Larry Gaines. But this man went past me. He was up here somewhere. Oh dear, it was like meeting Ali. Someone like he couldn't believe it. And he was taken down to the front. He was given one of these special chairs to sit in. And he sat there, and he was still big. He was still too big, and he sat there, and everybody was still standing, all clapping and cheering. Because every man in that room knew him as a contemporary. They boxed in the same era. They all knew him. And the love they had for him was something else. Now, much has been said about colour bars, etc., so we don't need to go into any more. But let me tell you, in the boxing game, the men themselves, there was no colour bar as such, not in this country, and probably not even in Europe. America, another story. We can never, the Americans can never tell. But over here, it was a lot different. That's why Larry, after he'd been to Europe, he come and settled over here in England. But it's at the Ex-Boxers Association. That day, he was made a vice president, because the president at the time was Frank Butler, the News of the World. He was the sports writer, the boxing writer, I should say, for the News of the World. And also, I believe, he was the secretary or the chairman of the Boxing Writers Club. The secretary.
Former chairman.
Yeah, former chair at the time. So obviously, he was a non-boxer as such, non-combatant, but there he was as the president of the association. So Larry Gaines was made the very first vice president. No question, no votes taken, nothing was done. It was just unanimously done, automatically. Public, everybody wanted him to be the vice president. He was the vice president. 4 years later, Frank Butler, he felt it wasn't quite right that he should be the president, and he nominated Larry Gaines to be the president. And let me tell you, there was 500 members by then, and it was unanimous. There was no vote taken as such. Everybody was happy with it. Not one person spoke out against it. Larry was that popular. Now, it was also popular in much of the fact that, obviously, back in his day, because of the politics of the time, and a lot of it was real politics, government politics. You know, there was problems in the Dominions, and they were going up, someone from the Dominions couldn't box or beat or win a championship like from the mother country. So obviously the British toll went out the window, and obviously, you know, etc., etc. It's all history now. It's all history. Larry, and all the time that I knew him at the Ex-Boxers Association, he never once moaned about that situation. He always said, well, sometimes I couldn't have done it anyway. He had a Canadian draw. Oh, yeah, I couldn't do that. That was too busy then, you know, and that was it. And we got very friendly. Myself and my old dad, because my dad boxed on the same bill as Freddie Mills, as Larry Gaines. But the thing was that Larry, he would come out. We used to have to raise money in those days. You had to raise money to get the association going. We started from scratch. And we used to run dart matches in places like this, you know, and working men's clubs and stuff like that. When we were going on for socials, and Larry always came along. And Larry was like a star because he had that Canadian draw. The amber went, he always looked a picture. He looked lovely, and he had a big old overcoat he used to wear, and it made him bigger still, you know. And he used to come there, and then he had a little bit of music, a long time before karaoke, don't worry about that. He knew the words, he didn't need to read the words. He knew the words, and he used to give one song in particular, always, and if Lisa was there, he used to sit, and he used to sing it to Lisa, and that was, I'm going to sit right down and write myself a letter. And he used to tap it out. And away he go. He was, well, he could have earned, well, he did earn a living in the entertainment world. But I'm sure he could have done it without the boxing. But there you are. He left something for us at the Ex-Boxers Association. It'd be very hard to replicate. You know, we've had some great presidents. None was better than the other. But we've had some great presidents. But Larry's presence everything about Larry, the way he was friendly. I was a boy, you know, he was an old man to me, you know, and yet we could talk to one another on a basis. But at the end of the day, he left something behind there that can't, as I say, cannot be replicated. You know what it was? He was loved. He was loved by everybody. And I'm very, very honoured to wear this chain today with his name on it and following his footsteps. Well done, Larry Gaines. You know, well done.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you for showing me some of the pictures on your phone as well earlier. Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we invite the wonderful Larry Jr. to the stage, we're going to go outside and unveil the plaque. We're going to invite Brian Deere. Now, Brian Deere is a West Ham fan. West Ham. I'm a Gooner, so it's just you and I get to go.
It's this lot, it's this lot. Talk about good people to follow. It was over 30 odd years ago that I first came across this huge man. There was a few old boys on the seafront when I had the hotel, which was owned by Patsy and Jimmy Quill, and Brian Beggars in them days and Bobby Moore. And it wasn't a very good time for Larry and his wife. And they asked me if I could be of help to have a function in our discotheque next door, but he wasn't on the door before that. So we got it arranged, and we had a great night, and he stayed with me for a week in the hotel, and the Evening Echo came around one day and wanted to take a photo. And, you know, he was up here, and I was out here, and the guy said, could you punch him on the jaw? He said, why? He said, he's my friend. He said, I'm living in his hotel for a week for nothing. He said,
ladies and gentlemen, just before I call you Larry, there is one more person we do have to thank, because no matter all the work that Michael put in, it still would not have been possible without the owner of this building giving us permission to put the plaque up. So Nick, I know you didn't want to do this, but please, Nick, come and say a few words. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, this building is worth more money now the plaque's on it, but of course there's nothing to do with it.
So you tell me. Well, thanks everybody for coming. It's really humbling for us to have you lot down here, to be fair. I bought the building in 2012 as a refurbishment project. It was going to be knocked down, and we took it on, refurbished the pub, and we offer it back to our local community. It's a real special place for everybody locally, but equally it's really humbling to have you guys down here as well. As part of the boxing community, it's a good nod to you guys. So thanks very much. Thanks for coming.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Larry Gaines Jr.
Well, thank you very much for coming today. I feel very humbled by everybody who's attended today, for my granddad. And it's nice to see family from 50 years ago come today. I'm really proud of that. And my own family have turned up as well, twisting their arms. It was nice to meet Colin and Brian especially, and the Mayor, who had a lot to talk about. And it's been a really great experience seeing all of you come today. And I hope you will take away with you what we feel in our hearts for our family. And that's all I'm going to say. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go outside now and we're going to unveil the plaque. Give it a go back there. Hey! I'll tell you. It says English Empire Heavyweight Boxing Champion, World War II Army Sergeant Larry Gaines, denied becoming heavyweight champion due to colour bar, a true gentleman.